Let's see if this actually works. I don't know. Oh, oh, there it's going. There it's working. Good. Cool. So hi everyone. I don't know who's here. I just figured I'd stream this rather than not. We got a little bit of time before I gotta go to work today. So I figured I'd do this so we can actually get some progress done on this. And then it also streams some Flash games directly afterwards. So if you don't like this, you want something a little bit more hype, and you want whatever. Jeez, the bag's under my eyes, man. God, there's a little bit of a delay there. But anyway, I got a new thing to hold the camera steady. It's like for a desk-mounted like camera, but I've got it perched right on top of the lens, and it seems to be holding steady. We will see whether or not it tries to run off on us or not, but it looks like it's a little bit better than it used to be. So, just notice the camera's a little off-center. Oh, hi. So it's not working all that perfect, but we'll get it to work. There it is. Okay, we good? Is that camera in a good spot? The hairy-armed man is painting again. Yes. Okay. It's a little bit too far down. You can tilt it up just a little bit. How's that? No, still off. Okay, cool. That's it's not great, but that's about as good as we're gonna be able to do. Flash games today directly after this. So if you have recommendations for Flash games, send them to me on Twitter, and then yeah. Well, Zolda had work this morning, so I kind of got up when she did. I'm gonna skip the song that I normally play, and we're just gonna go straight to Kevin MacLeod stuff, so that way we can have something else going. My hope is that we'll be able to kind of catch up on where this is at, because this is like not close enough to being done that I'm happy with it. So I'm a little bit worried about that. So rather than, fret about it all day, I'm just going to do something about it. So that is okay. Let's see what needs to be fixed. That needs to be fixed. We just put some journal colors down. And ever consider enabling Super Chat? Well, you have to have certain thresholds met in order to actually do stuff that. How goes the new music? I tried writing some stuff the other day. It was awful. Super Chat is just bits, honestly. It's what YouTube calls bits. And they acted like they invented the idea, but they, obviously didn't. It's been raining a lot in Texas recently with the hurricanes and all that. I think I need something like this. So let's see. We need to get that green, but I wanna wait on that dude, maybe. Maybe something smaller so I can do this. I'm kind of doing this also just that way I can wake up a bit. I've got very limited schedule today, so as soon as the timer goes off, I don't care where I'm at in this, I've got to stop and then immediately start setting up for Flash. So yeah, if you have any recommendations for things, just send them to me on Twitter. Games, I've got a handful. It should be sufficient, but still. things have been going better as far as everything goes in general in my life. I still need a lavalier mic. That would help. But up until I get one, we're just gonna kind of have to deal with it, I guess. Overall, like, the channels that I work on, the stuff that I do in my life, have been improving in ways, which is good because, you know, I don't know. I'm trying to do this thing. I'm trying to make these things work, and seeing, you know, effort pay off is always nice. So, that's a thing. Twitch has been growing faster than expected, which is always better than what's going on YouTube, where it's the exact opposite. This channel is doing well. So, my hope is that at some point in the near future, I will be able to quit my day job and just do this and have a fairly reliable schedule of, like, every day except for Thursday, Saturday, you know? With new videos coming out on this channel every other week, on Sunday, and maybe streams of this every other day or something like that. And then streaming on Twitch every day. Something along those lines. I'm gonna need a different color yellow for this situation. I think what I did was I mixed, like, yellow with white to get that sort of eggshell color. We're fast approaching that ability. I want to see how things are in maybe a month or so. Because I have a feeling that things are going well on Twitch right now because of September. And once that stuff wears off, I expect that there's going to be a drop. And when that drop happens, I don't know how much it's going to be. So, hey, Mafia. I want to forecast for the worst case scenario and hope that I get the best case scenario. But Tilda's been doing good at her job. She's putting in a good word in another place, and we're hoping that that comes back okay. Hopefully she can just work one job rather than, you know, two. Ideally, I'm just doing this, YouTube, and Twitch, so I guess 3 jobs, but, you know. It's not as big of a deal if it's 3 jobs and it's things that you want to do, I think, rather than, like, 2 jobs that you don't really care about. So, like, I care about what happens here, but I feel more or less productive without a day job. I would feel, I've done it before, and I think what happened was that I felt like I had more time, and I didn't get out of the house enough. And so I got a little bit of a cabin fever going on, a little bit stir crazy, and just started, like, affecting everything that I was doing. So, but, you know, recently I've been making an active attempt to, like, walk away from this and come back to it and then stream. And it's been massively helping out my streams. I don't know if you guys have felt it, but I personally have felt like my streams have been better recently. I hope you guys have felt it. because, you know, obviously that's the point, but, you know, you know, I'm gonna have those days off because I'd like to be able to spend, you know, Saturday going and playing with plastic toys, army men at my local game store, because I have a problem and I like playing Warhammer. But it's a way of getting out of the house and talking to people and having something to look forward to at the end of the week. That just, you know, that's good for me. I missed 1 week, but luckily the week that we were doing for the campaign was also the week that they were like, hey, you know, we're doing such and such instead, so we can't do it. I got my boys in. I ordered some boys off of eBay. Pretty cheap comparison to the $30 for 10 guys that you'd have to pay through the official channels. You know, I played my normal chaos stuff and it just didn't go well. And then I played them instead. So I was like, can I do that? And the tournament organizer was like, yeah, that's fine. And so I played them, and just the look on my opponent's face is I just like started doing some really weird stuff. Like, it was absolutely hilarious because it's just such an unorthodox way of playing when you play them, you know? There's some random guy and his girlfriend that dropped by to watch, and they're like, is it cool if we watch? I was like, yeah. And he's like, so your guys play like Mad Max? And I'm like, yeah. Yeah, Mad Max is a really good description of how I play. Yeah. I guess let's talk about things that aren't Warhammer. Color interpretations are very different across culture. I saw a really interesting video that was explaining that not even the cool worm thing is like a thing that people like agree on, culture to culture. There's this one tribe, forget where, kind of in the middle of nowhere if I recall correctly, and their dialect for like talking about colors is wet to dry. So it's like wet things are more green, dry things are more brown. And it's like, that's, when you think about it, as valid a way of describing color as like, I don't know, cool to wet. I have to blow my nose here. Try and do it so that way it's not into the mic, but not directly into the camera. And I don't know, it's weird. It's also weird to realize like how just talking about color has like evolved over time. Like you talk about like, oh, what is it? There's a couple of different fruits. It's not oranges. Orange is orange. But like there were other fruits that like, I don't remember what they are, but there's a couple that have like really weird names. And it's because like there wasn't really a necessary need to like call colors by different names. Like the precision of color was not necessary. Precision of color is like a sign of a more advanced language. The more precise your way of describing colors is, the more advanced that language is. So if you can describe it not only as yellow, but like eggshell yellow, or like, you know, not even just like the difference between yellow, but like wider ranges of color, like how yellow is different than orange and red. Like you don't really think about it, but like, because it's just such a thing now in our culture to like know the difference between yellow and orange and red. That's a greenish purple. How are you getting a greenish purple? That's like brown? Like, what? Do you have an example of that color? Because, like, to get green you need, like, yellow and blue. And to get purple you need blue and red. So it's, like, not quite on the opposite side of the thing, but unnamed colors only referring by their hexadecimal color. I mean, like, that's how advanced, like, English has gotten. That's just, like, you can just refer to it by code, and that's a thing now. And basically any culture that, you know, understands the internet can now talk about that. Octarine. I guess my knowledge of language is not as advanced as some people in chats, because I don't know this color that you're referring to. Let's get a little bit more yellow going. This thing should shut off right about at the time that I was talking about. And that would be perfect if it did. If I've timed things correctly today, this is a good enough time for people to be awake and moving, especially if they're in, like, the EU. But also, allows for streams for other people in America when I stream Flash games later. It's like way too early in the morning for me to have the hype levels that I need for Flash games, and I'm just gonna let my stomach chill down a little bit because I had too much caffeine right in the morning. I'm an old man now, I guess, so I can't just drink a cup of coffee straight. It's probably because I had, like, Cinnamon Toast Crunch on top of that, and that's just, like, not a good combination. So I need to add some, like, I want to say, like, brown? No. I'm just gonna have, like, a dab of it. Is that gonna be right? It's like, it's just kind of a gross color in that corner. Isn't Octarine a Pokemon? I think so. It sounds like a Pokemon anyway. Do you think if you make up a color name, do you think it'll catch on? I'm not quite famous enough for that, but I think if we just spread it, like the whole Frindle situation, we could do it. We would just need to name a color that doesn't already have a name. That's kind of the problem right now, is, as I was saying, English has gotten to the point where we have names for pretty much everything. I wonder what colors, like, I would imagine certain colors over other colors have more names. Like, just the commonality of it. Like, I would imagine that there are more names for, like, blues than there are, I don't know, some other color, like yellow, maybe? Just because I feel like, well, it's probably like all the earthy tones have like a billion different names. Stuff that's really easy to like mix, like, or just happens naturally in nature. I'd imagine that those all have names. Like forest green is a color, like, you know what that looks like. But so is like army green. So it'd have to be, I don't know. Rev red. Okay. So what color is that? RBG FE0s. Okay. FE00 is red. Or Rev. Let me see. FE00. Color. Hex color code charts F. Okay, so FF or FEF00. Alright, FF or FEF00. It's like yellow. Or FE000. One, two, three. Is that black? I'm looking at like a hexadecimal thing and like I'm not having any luck finding what you're talking about there, Maffa. I vote we rename hashtag 1D255E to Twig. It's like blue? It's like a bluish color. Am I doing this right? Am I just really dumb? I have a feeling I'm just really dumb. I don't know if that makes... if that's right or not. That's Twig, apparently. Twig blue. I don't know as if that one would catch on because people are going to be like, why is that called Twig? Put a Death Stranding video yesterday on the Highlights channel, and I don't know anything about, and everyone's response was, yeah, no one knows anything about it, which is kind of the point. It's kind of why it's a shorter episode of I don't know anything about. It's just me making stuff up for the most part. The bottom of the can... oh. That's a little bit twig blue. That's... yeah. I love dead beef. Hashtag dead beef. I see what hashtag dead beef is. That just comes up as black for me. I've got Color Hex as the website. Well, thank you. I haven't done very many streams of this recently. I should probably stop trying to figure out what colors people are talking about in chat and paint, because I don't have like a whole lot of time. But anyway, as far as I know, no one's figured out any of the puzzles. They're getting really tripped up by the Morse code, which is funny because that's like, I would say that's like the 3.5 puzzle. Like, in order for it to make any sense, you have to solve like several other puzzles before you get to that point. That's one of the harder ones. It's one of the more obvious ones, and it's meant to, basically, if you solve it, it will prove that you need to do other ones first. So like, everyone's trying to solve that one, and they're skipping out on the other two. And it kind of made, I think, puzzle 2 a little bit too hard, because people haven't even registered that it is a thing yet. Puzzle 1, one guy has picked up on, but no one's solved. I would say it's the easiest one. puzzle 1's definitely the easiest one because I feel like anyone could solve it. And I give a really solid hint in the video that it's there, but no one's like hit that. I kind of just assumed that it would be like, so every other I don't know anything about video has been picked up by the fans of whatever I do. I sent you dead beef. There are puzzles. There's a bunch of puzzles in that one. The Morse code is the easiest to see or hear, I guess, but it's one of the harder ones to solve, and it'll leave you fairly vacant feeling afterwards. No one has even registered the first puzzle that I made. Like, they didn't even know it's a thing, which just shows, like, well, certain thing about viewing habits that is interesting to know, but should be sort of expected, and I shouldn't be surprised to find it out. But I think that's what's making that one hard. Also, you need to like have a very specialized couple of skill sets in order to solve that one. And I feel like the average person watching my video is probably not going to know those things, and so they're gonna not even register that it is a puzzle. Yeah, I would say that's the easy one, Aiden, is that one. There are exactly 8 hexadecimal numbers, so you can be a bridge troll. I mean, yeah, if the whole streaming thing doesn't work out, I can just become a bridge troll. I told Tilda about it, and she said she wanted to slug me for it, which, to be fair, is like the only real reasonable thing, because I told her the answers to all of them, and how to find them, and what they look like, and all that, and she was just like, why would you do that? Which is, you know, fair. Like, there's not really a reason to do that to people. Alright, you have a good one, Keter. What kind of fun is it if I tell you how to do it? Aiden. I would recommend watching the video on a very slow speed so you can actually catch all of them, because I noticed that someone listed out some of the letters, but not all of them. And so then they're like, I don't know what this means. It probably has something to do with the Morse code, which indirectly it does. All the puzzles have to do with each other, but like, not really. My wording in the video was very, very specific. So that's a good hint for you. My wording during the entire video is meant, like, in of itself is part of the puzzle. Like, I don't just say words for no reason. Like, all of it, every element of the video, from my voice to the length of the video to the pacing, every random reference I make has something to do with one of the puzzles for the most part. There's very few elements of the video that don't have anything to do with anything. Which is why it's so weird that people are picking up on the Morse code exclusively. But I guess I should have made that the easy one, because that one's like, you have to solve the others before you can get to it even. It's not really that you need to break the code using math. It's all in, like, more or less plain English. There's some exceptions to that, but, you know, like, I don't think you would need to use any advanced code breaking. much time did I spend on the video? I just, like, randomly have an interest in, like, that kind of stuff. And so, it wasn't that difficult. It's really not that hard to write a script like that. There's only a couple slides that have nothing to do with anything. The JoJo thing is just because I realized that at the end of the video that I still hadn't, like, bashed JoJo. And that's just, like, a thing I do in that series. And by not doing that, like, I would break the tradition. Did you ever check out any ARGs? I've checked out a couple. I'm too stupid. Like, I wouldn't be able to solve my own puzzle. Like, I'll tell you that. Like, whoever solves it is actually smarter than me. Because it's like, I can easily generate Morse code. Like, there are websites that allow you to do it. But, like, actually sitting down and knowing the dots and dashes well enough to be able to do it, is an entirely different skill set. And actually requires skill rather than just like, I'm gonna put this thing into Morse code and see what people think. Well, I think that's the issue with the video entirely, is that no one's actually going to bother. It'd probably be a good idea to study, Mafa. I think you're right. So I'm bringing this up just that way it lines up with that more, but I think I should actually bring this over and then it lines up, because I think this is low enough. I put a few puzzles in previous videos. There's one that no one's even recognized as a puzzle. I like doing that mostly just for my own, like, amusement. Like, I'll tell you one of the ones that slipped by people for at least a year. There's that video where something like Flash Games broke my PC or something like that. That one, the thumbnail is written in binary. And the binary actually translates out to, I can't believe you actually spent the time to translate this, or something like that. Camera turned off on me. I might can have a repeat of the other day. Honestly, I don't think it's worth it to try and solve the puzzles, but it's more or less just meant to be a little nod to the people who did want to solve the, you know, stuff that was in the trailers for the game. It's something nice about Death Stranding in general is that, like, nowadays with movies and games and stuff, people have realized that they don't want to, like, go and, I don't know, watch a movie or play a game that they don't know what it's going to be about. And so they instead decide that they're gonna... They just don't, unless if they know what it is. So, like, those trailers that give away the main twist, like, I'll give an example, like Destiny 2, the trailer for it, Forsaken, literally gives away like the most important part of that entire expansion, and that Cade 6 dies. Spoilers. Except for if you saw any of the trailers on YouTube or like anywhere, you'd know that. Now I don't care about that game, but like, if you do, then you go, oh wow, that's a thing I care about. I could watch that, or I could play that. What did I just get buzzed about? Oh, eBay. I think the depth of the knowledge that you need to know in order to like solve yesterday's video on Artcade is really not worth the effort, to the point that like anyone who actually goes through the trouble probably will sue me for like mental abuse, because it's just not worth it at all. Also, I realized that this is too far over. Like, I need to scoot this over quite a bit. Because in the original, like, there's a whole bunch of wall here. And that's a lot smaller and a lot further back. So I'm gonna, it's like just taller than him. So it needs to be like all the way down here. This is why you sketch things in before doing too much detail. But yeah. Luigi guy brought up a point about, what kind of music do I like? Oh, Vile Pixel did. I'm huge into like metal. I thought about using like getting metal for this channel to like play, but it's just like, despite the fact that like the aesthetic of this channel is like chill, you know, I can't deny who I am as a person. Like I'm kind of a gremlin. And just the sort of weird perfect imperfection of like metal and that kind of thing, like it's sort of the aesthetic that I'm going for this channel, and a little bit of Bob Ross, you know. But there's no good, like you can't find a Kevin MacLeod of metal, you know? Like, there's not good royalty-free metal. It's all really garbage and generic sounding. Like, atmospheric stuff, like, you guys, I don't know about y'all, but, like, when I'm writing music for this channel, the thought process isn't, like, to make good music or something that you listen to, but it's to make something that's like, oh right, there was music playing, wasn't there? Which takes a whole totally different like thought process that like I'm not used to and I'm not good at. Like, this song's been going on for like 20 something minutes now, I think, and like it doesn't feel like it because it's such a not thing. I think I talk about like the same subject every single Artcade. So, because there really isn't someone who makes that kind of stuff, because I'm not, like, I can't make, metal is really the opposite of what you want when you're thinking about music that's just there. Like, I always think that, like, I've said to, like, former bandmates, like, if we write a song and it ends up in a, grocery store while you're just walking around sometime, like, we've failed as a band, in my opinion. Like, if you can play it in the, like, just in a grocery store, and it'd be like, oh, that's nice. I remember that song back from when I was a child, you know? Your song's too, like, easy, like, too complacent. Like, you don't listen to, like, I don't know. It's not what I want it to be. I want it to be something that is just like, holy crap, that's a wall of sound. Like, that's what metal is. It's just like, it doesn't, like, when something's heavy, it doesn't have to be loud. It just has to be, like, all-encompassing to the point that, like, you can't ignore it, you know? Whereas the music I'm trying to write for this channel is basically just, like, it could be easily just the sound of a, like, I don't know, like elevator metal bands, yeah, I guess. I want to make it more complex than it has to be, and it's just like, no, the key here is to make something super boring, you know? Like, I've been on a Gwar kick for about, like, a year now, and those guys are great, but, like, you could not, you could not just go, oh, that's some easy listening, let's put on some Gwar, you know? Like, the average person couldn't. Like, the metalhead might be able to go, oh yeah, I'm tough, I could just listen to Gwar. You know, whatever. You know, but, like, little grandma is not going to sit there and just listen to Gwar and be like, ah, this is a nice little ditty, you know? Like, no, that's not what they're about, and that's not what they do, and that's not what I'm used to writing, you know, is the opposite of that. How would I describe my art style? It's kind of expressionist. I don't know. I don't know what my style is, but I think there's like this huge movement on the internet that you must find your style. You must be like of one style consistency, you know, and that's part of something that's been like just sort of pounded into us as like artists and as just human beings, that we have to have like a clarified, easy to understand, like if you walk up you can get what it is sort of aesthetic that, like, as soon as you see it, you know, across every single person that's ever made art or music or whatever, that this is yours. And yet, like, I don't think that that's, like, how humans really act. Like, for me, my style develops on, like, a monthly basis. There's some consistencies in it. But I would say it's, like, I've slowly worked away from photorealism and into something, like, more expressionist, I guess. Just because there's more options there. I talked about photorealism in a prior video. And just like the limitations of it. And I feel like this style enables me to have, like, I don't know, not necessarily more things to do, but just like, yeah, just more things to do. Exactly that, actually, now that I think of it. I need to make this kind of dingy back counter. Part of it just comes with, like, just who I am as a person, like, physically. I don't mean to make that sound like weird or anything, but just like certain attentions to detail or like certain like movements of my body are not like conducive to certain things, and so like I work that into an element rather than like fight it. And so that becomes a thing, if that makes sense. What should I work on? I kind of want to work on Timo a bit. Do I want him to be wearing that outfit? I think I'd be okay with that. So I think a looser brush style is as much of an aesthetic choice as it is just like a physical thing. You hear about people like, what was his name? Pollock? Like, his whole thing was movement. Like, it's a record of movement in the same way that, like, a vinyl record is a, like, physical imprint of sound. Like, his stuff was a, physical imprint of motion. It just so happens that he's a very boring person when he moves, but, you know, that's what he was going for. Like, you're not supposed to look at it as in, like, you know, the lines themselves as you see them, but you should be thinking about it as, like, how he moved through space to make those lines. And that's the art, really, is what he was doing while he was making them. And I like that concept, I just think he was boring. I will work on the characters a bit more. I think I'm going to do that now, while I'm waiting for that to dry. And then we're just going to work in rounds. Like, I'm going to do little details here and there. I'd feel happier if there was a detail that was, like, more or less set in stone, I think. And right now, none of the details are. And I think that's maybe the wrong way of doing it. But it's what I'm going to do. Let's see, I feel like, but here's the deal about, like, not trying to fit an aesthetic or a style. Like, I feel like you inherently will fit a style because you have your own personal preferences and wants and needs. Like, so you're eventually going to come up with something that is, like, inherently just you. Like, I don't work towards having, like, an aesthetic necessarily as far as my art, but, like, I think if you were to put several of my paintings side by side, you wouldn't be like, I can't believe these are by the same guy. Like, there's something that binds them, you know? I'm still using the reference, yeah. This guy's head is too low. I might put in, like, the flesh tones real quick. I'm probably not going to do them super detailed, just because the game doesn't have a lot of detail there. And so I don't really need to mix actual flesh tones, in my opinion. I may be wrong in this, but that's what I'm going to go with for the next, like, minute or so. It is currently 11:11. Make a wish. So I'm going to use, like, the crappy way of mixing flesh tones. And just use that. Because it's like, flesh color is not actually that color. That's not right. But it's, like, close enough that, like, you're not going to think about it too much. So it's fine. I just kind of want to get his, like, form in place. And then we can get it a little bit more exact. Because flesh tone isn't really just one color. Even on an individual person, let alone, like, an entire, like, group. I was going to say squadron of people for some reason. But, like, I'm not stupid, so I held back. But then I admitted that I was going to say it, so it kind of doesn't matter at this point. Any group of people has a different, like, skin tone, but in, like, even individuals, like, inch to inch, you're gonna have, like, a different look going on. And it's because, like, you don't really think about it, but, like, your body is, like, one weird organism, and, like, it's trying its best to, like, process what you're doing to it. It's really dumb. so it doesn't do a good job of it. Quite possibly, Ryu. But welcome. Hope you enjoy your stay while you're here. A much better way of mixing like flesh tones rather than doing what I'm doing is to mix like red, yellow, blue, and then from there doing a thing. A little bit of white. It gets you like this purpley color. And if you mix like a purpley color with white, then you get kind of a flesh tone. And then you want to push a little bit more red or a little bit more blue or a little bit more yellow, because your body is like, again, like if you're jaundiced, you're going to be a little bit more yellow. If you've got a sunburn, you're going to be a little bit more red. Or if you're younger, you're going to have more red in your skin. The older you get, the more blue you have, especially around like the gills. And more pale as you get older. You need to have that base skin tone, and then you add those other colors to it until you get the right color. Yeah, I guess it should say welcome. Moppa brings up a good point. Welcome everyone who's new. I hope you're enjoying this. My normal streams on Twitch are much more high-paced and stuff like that, but I feel like this is serving a part of me that I don't get to be on Twitch streams because the objective is different. Like here, it's to be chill and have a good time and, you know, inspire you guys to do art and really just act as an advertisement for my own art. But speaking of advertising my art, October's coming up. I was thinking that we should, I should like sell another painting on eBay, because that went well. Currently in the running are well, everyone wants me to sell Go Forth and Die, but I don't know how I can sell that, because that's actually a woodblock, so maybe I sell the woodblock itself. Like, that's as much of an original of the, you know, thing as you can get. There's not really an original of that. Does Artcade have an Instagram? I have an Instagram, but I don't use it. I don't really get it. I mostly just use Twitter and Tumblr. I should use Instagram because there's a lot of artists on there and stuff like that, but simultaneously I feel like that's the reason not to use it, because now I'm fighting every other artist on the platform. I mean, I can do, like, prints of it, like, physical, like, I guess that counts. Like, I feel weird about selling a digital print of a woodblock. Like, that's a little bit of a weird thing. But, yeah. And the other one that people have been asking for is, you look like... No, it's not, why be happy today when you can, when there's always tomorrow? That one, the blue and white one, got a lot of love. I sold Ocean based on, like, how many people were, like, buying the prints of it on Redbubble. Melissa would be another good choice, but Melissa is massive. It's this size. It might be a little bit bigger. It's right behind me. I could get up and look, but I'd have to go through things. It's just not worth the trouble right now resetting this up. This is working a lot better. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but like the camera hasn't gone off like since I hit play, for the most part, it stayed still. Unlike the tape situation. I bought like, I started saying this and then I just changed subject random. The annotations are covering the notes on that last... Oh, I'll fix that. I'll fix that after stream. But at least someone picked that up. I'm just saying right now, you're probably going to be disappointed with what you find. But, so it's going to be one of those. I think, Why Be Happy Today When There's Always Tomorrow might be it. It's a little bit spooky. It's smaller, so I can actually get that number down, because I really want to figure out exactly what I'm worth. And so I'm gonna use what I had last time as the reference point and go a little bit lower than that, and then see if that works. Because if that keeps working, if that number's right, then I'm right. I need to do like in those where, like in, Why Be Happy Today When There's Always Tomorrow, where I have just like these sharp angles. I feel like that might be interesting. I'm gonna try that and see how it looks. Where it's just like a block of color. I do make a reference to disappointment in the video, you're right. I think that's like a little bit too... I need like a little bit yellow in there. It's like, his shirt is super dingy. It's like a really gross color, actually, looking at it. Yeah, especially under his armpit, it's like completely yellowed because he's got like a sweat stain going. That's super gross. Make a story based on this painting. This one is actually based on a video game. A video game that no one cares about aside from me. Called My Summer Car. I imagine it's just these guys come here every night to drink and chat and stuff, and Timo's there to serve drinks. It really doesn't deserve as much attention as I've given that game, but it's given me a lot of, like, I don't know. It allows me to express myself on a lot of ways that's more difficult on some games, because it doesn't do any talking. It doesn't try and interrupt me, which is nice. You're good. No worries. Alright, well that's more or less right. His pants are going to be a total pain. I'm going to try and get this guy's arms right. Or at least blocked in. Probably not right. So it's actually in line with the bottom of the thing like this. That's actually right. Because he's like fully slumped over. Like he's... You should try and make more paintings based on games. The idea behind the channel, but like I haven't been doing it. I've been doing other stuff because of time constraints, but I recently hired an editor to work on my highlight channel. So that way, like, every other week I can just, like, have them do the work. Give or take. Which means that on the weeks that I'm editing, I can do stuff like I don't know anything about, or the stuff that's a little bit more complex. And then, have a full week to work on this. That way I do the stuff for Patreon. And then there's still videos out every week on the highlights channel, which is still important to me. But it's just like, I don't know, giving up creative control on it is difficult for me in a lot of ways. But I feel like it's the only way to progress on that channel, is to spend more time streaming and doing art, so that way I have more content to edit. Because that's the biggest bottleneck right now for me, is like, because I can't stream as much as I'd like, I get bottlenecked. Why don't I stream art on Twitch? Right now, I'm trying to get to 4,000 hours on YouTube. Viewer hours. So how that works is for every minute watched in a video, that is counted towards that 4,000 hours. And once I have all 4,000 hours, I can do things like super chat, and I can put links to my own website, and just like stuff like that, like basic features that you would expect of YouTube, that they gate off to prevent scam artists from like making a channel and then getting people to click really shady links, which is fine, I get it, but anyway, what I found is that every time I stream, I get about 100 or about 1,000. What is it? Yeah, about 100 viewer hours. And there's just not enough content on the channel just yet to enable someone to watch 4,000 viewer hours, you know? So by doing it on here, not only do I get viewer hours for the people watching live, but I also get viewer hours for people who missed it and watch it later, which helps improve the channel. So basically, by you guys watching, you're actively helping the channel. In a very literal way, not just in like the spiritual way that people talk about, like, oh, you're helping the channel out, you know? Like, but no, like, it's actually like giving analytics to YouTube to say that this is a legitimate channel and not a scam artist channel. And then that's when I trick you guys and then start scamming you. Well, thank you, Gashins. It's very kind of you to say. I'm gonna have to stream art quite a bit this week because, I mean, this painting is not done. Like, I couldn't put this up and be like, it's done! Also, I feel like it's a different crowd here than on Twitch. Like, the crowd that comes here for this is looking for a chill time. The crowd that goes to, Twitch wants, like, high-octane action. And this is not that. And I'm not trying to make that. I'm trying not to, like, or I'm not trying to make every single sentence is meme-worthy, you know? Whereas on Twitch, every second needs to be just, like, something needs to be happening. In this, if I'm mixing paint for a couple of seconds, you guys are chill with it. Because, like, I don't know, it's just kind of what you came for. The division helps, and it helps solidify what the intent of both channels is. I'm liking this camera grip. I think I spent like $5 on it. It was used, but, like, you know, it does the job. For me, that's what I care about. Well, thank you, Burn. does unfortunately mean that the people watching on the Patreon full exclusive thing don't get as much of a benefit this week, but I'll try and do something special for them. I think what I'm going to cover this week on Artcade is going to be probably how to set prices, but we'll see. It very much depends on like just how I don't know. The hard part for me is figuring out commission prices, because I disagree with the. I'm going to spoil a little bit of how this video is going to go. This channel's a little bit for that, to be honest with you. Just like Comfy, because that fills a niche. People say, "Oh, I like your voice, Rev, but I don't like it when you scream." And when I scream during like a stream or something, like, yeah, it's hard to fall asleep to that. I've tried to fall asleep to other people's streams and videos and that kind of thing, and it's hard when they get loud. I'll listen to like Warhammer games, you know, like battle reports of stuff like mini wargaming and stuff like that, because it's not action-packed at all. Like, it's interesting to me. Mind popping a link in the chat to the Patreon? I think it's in the description. It says you can get prints of it at colinmullen.com, then a dead eBay link that I need to get rid of, and then the Patreon link. And then links to all the music, because I'm legally required to do so. And honestly, Kevin MacLeod deserves some love, because he does it out of the love of his heart, I guess. Like, he has a Patreon as well. And so, like, it's super cool that he just does that. They don't seem to exist in any particular key signature. Am I looking at the wrong scale? I think you're thinking about it the wrong way. It is in a key signature. It's just not, that's not what it's for, no. I'm kind of just like this, to be honest with you. Like I've said before, like, I feel like streaming is like sort of like, you know, a heavy rocker does not go to like, I don't know, HEB and get some stuff in the checkout, and then the little lady behind them is like, "Oh, I like your hair," and they're like, "You wanna rock?" Like, they don't do that. Like, they're still the same person. And it's not like a persona when they get on stage, but like, it's you don't act like that all the time. And so like, this channel allows me to have the other parts of me that I can't do on stream, basically. But as far as what was I going to talk about? Oh, this week's video. Commissions are really tricky. I don't like doing them. I hate commissions, and I think I need to get over that. I find it to be, I don't know, it feels exploitative, but I think it's not exploitative as much as it is like, it's exploitative from my personal standpoint, because I am a streamer and you guys look up to me and you respect me to some degree. For some reason, I don't know why. It's one of those situations where it's like, I feel like people would be buying it just because it's me, but like, with that conversation with Mike the other day on that Minecraft stream, I realized that like, that's part of it. That's honestly part of what you're selling. Like, I don't feel like I'm really worth $1.60 or $1.26 per square inch, but like, eBay disagrees with me. And I think and it's not me bashing my art, it's me saying, I think the reason that, like, I can get that price point is because I have notoriety. I feel like you can get away with having, I'll just say, worse art the more well-known you are. That's why Ringo Starr can sell your baby for, well, thank you, Vile Pixel. It's very kind of you. I think that's why Ringo Starr can sell your baby for like $3,000, because someone actually would buy it. Because he's well known enough, he's well respected enough that he can do that. So in that way, I guess my art is actually worth like $1.26 per square inch, but only with you guys and not with, like, I couldn't sell my art in Austin at $1.26 per square inch. Because I don't have that level of notoriety and that level of clout, you know? People are willing to pay that much for my art, not because it's as good as all that, but because, and maybe that's just imposter syndrome's kicking in. I don't know. But, like, I feel like that makes sense to me. With all the work you put into your art, aren't you entitled to some value anyway? Yes, but how much is the question? And, I figured with my skill level and notoriety, I was somewhere in the 50 cents to $1 range. And so I set the eBay bids up, so that way it started at, 50 cents per square inch. Expected it to end somewhere in between, and then it'd go, oh, okay, cool. Whatever they actually bid is what I'm actually worth, because I don't know how to price things. But that's a way of doing it that made sense to me, and it didn't feel exploitative to me, you know? That, like, literally, it's as low as I think it's worth, and that's what I'll start the bidding at. And then I'll see what you guys think it's worth. And the answer was about 26 cents more per square inch than I expected, which is interesting. It's not the result I expected, but it's a good result. Maybe I should talk about style first. I need to figure out that whole commission thing. Because I asked for people to send in their commission pages. So that way I have, like, a reference point to, like, talk about how to set up a commission page. Because I feel like that is the right way of doing it. But I feel like a lot of the people who are making art online right now are, like, I am a big fat... That's a good name there, because then I have to say that. But like they were saying, like, I feel like, yeah, like, a lot of people lowball their art to the point that it makes the market devalued. Like, I see artists who are much better than they say they are, and maybe, again, it's imposter syndrome or what have you, that they're suffering from it and that they don't think their art is worth that. Maybe they're just trying to get a quick buck so that way they can, you know, eat, or just, like, what people will pay. But I feel like, to some degree, like, you set the prices at what you want them to be. As long as it's somewhat reasonable, like, you'll make sales, you know? I wouldn't recommend trying the Morse code. I would try doing the letters first. I think the letters, that was my tier 1 puzzle. I think that's the easy one. You already found those, so do that one. Make sure you have all of them. But, and I don't know how to fix that. Going back to the commission thing. I don't know how to fix the problem of that people are lowballing their art skills, and so therefore, as an entire industry, like, the prices are going down, you know? Like, I see people who do amazing art, like Da Vinci level art, right? But they're like, yeah, $5. $5 for this. It'll take me like 10 hours, but $5, yeah. That sounds fair. Like, no, it's not. And furthermore, like, when someone goes, you charge that much for your art, you know, like, I could go to so and so and they'll just charge me $5. It's true. It's totally true. They're lowballing because they don't have an audience. Yeah. And so maybe it's better to talk about how to get an audience first. I don't know. Should I talk about how to get an audience first, or should I talk about, like, pricing, or should I talk about style and the myth of style, you know? Would you stay with your style even though that, you know, something else is way more profitable? Yeah. Crud. We're out of film. And about an hour ahead of time. Alright, give me a sec. Part of it is self-confidence and, I mean, that's the thing. Is there going to be people who tell you to lower your prices? I had someone, like, when I did the eBay thing, tell me, like, oh, your prices are too high. You know, no one's going to pay that. You know, but I guess we'll see what the market says. And I'm like, yep. Yeah, I guess we will. But because I've got confidence in, like, myself, like, I didn't let him bully me into lowering the price. You know, I was like, no, I'm worth somewhere between 50 cents to $1 per square inch. Like, I'm just positive that. Like, my skill level is such that, like, I'm somewhere in that range. I'm not any higher than that, but I'm somewhere in that range. And so that means that for a painting of this size and this skill, yeah, it takes me, you know, a couple hours to do, but, like, it took me a few years to learn how to do it in a couple hours. So that's what it's going to cost. And if you want it, like, you can pay that, or if you don't, then I guess you're not getting it. And that's fine with me. And if we didn't sell it, like, if I was totally wrong and no one put up bids, no one fought for it, then I'd be like, okay, I'll lower the price. I would rather lose out on a sale where I'm making half to a quarter of what it's worth than sells things for what people will buy it for. What the average person will buy it for. You know, art is a luxury, and as such, I don't care. Like, if everyone gets it, like, I have prints to make things cheaper. There's something I want to do to make even cheaper prints, so that way everyone can have it. Just because I think everyone should have art, but in the meantime, like, you can go to my website and look at it, you know? And there are those prints that I feel like I wish I could bring down the price on, but that's where they're at, you know? I don't like that system at all, small potatoes. Selling based on what you're willing to give it away for is gonna leave you in a position where you're selling things for exorbitantly high prices and no one wants to buy it. It's better to have some sort of system, because then you end up having things where you have like, let's say you have like an 8x10 and you sell that for like $1,000, and you have another 8x10 but you don't care about it as much, so you sell it for like $200. That person that spent $1,000 on that first one is going to be like, whoa dude, what the heck is this? Like, what are you doing? You told me that this was like $1,000. Like, what if you went to a grocery store and 1 week milk was like $10 a gallon, right? And then you go in the next week and then it's like 50 cents or whatever. It's just like, dude, what? They'll call you out for being a con artist. Like, what is that? Why are you charging me this now? You ripped me off before. Give me my money back. It's not a good thing. So it's better to have like a steadily increasing thing. It also shows progression, to just be like, you know, well, last week, yeah, my painting was worth 200, but now it's worth 250 because, you know what, over the last couple of months, I've gotten better, and I think it shows in my work, and I think it shows in what it's worth to buy it for. Commissions are weird though, because people want to charge based on hour, which is a dumb way of charging. I think once this transfer's over, then I'll stop and maybe have a quick lunch, and then set up for stream. Actually, no, we're right about on the nose, aren't we? We got about 15 minutes until I'm supposed to go live with Flash games. If you charge by hour, like, something that used to take me like 4 hours now takes me 2 hours. So it's like, for the same quality of work, I can do 2 hours worth of work, which if I'm paying myself per hour, then as I get better, as I get faster, as I get more skilled, I get paid less. Like, that's a bad way of charging people. Because it's just like, as your skill level increases, your prices decrease. Just like, if you think about it for a second, you'll realize that that's true. But yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and log off. That's probably not the best, Aiden. I need to figure out what the best way to charge for commissions are, and so maybe I don't talk about commissions this week. I know how to charge for art, like my own art, but like, I don't know how to do commissions. Charge a set price rather than an hour. I agree. But when I talk about commissions, I'm mostly talking about digital stuff, because with commissions, like, if I were to do a commission from one of my paintings, I'd probably just do whatever my going rate per square inch is, and then tack on like 10 to 20%, because I don't actually want to do their thing. I want to do my thing. So, yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm gonna go live on that channel as soon as this gets done doing its thing. So I'll be somewhere around 12 noon Central Standard Time. It is currently 11:47, so you have like 13 minutes or so to go ahead and get yourself a drink and stuff like that. Gonna be a totally different vibe. Gonna try and wake up. I'm glad you enjoyed this, VilePixel. I think this can be a little bit more intimate and a little bit more comfy. This is the coffee shop version of Rev, rather than the I don't know, bar version, if that makes any sense. Maybe a little bit of a whiskey bar sort of thing. Anyway, I'll see you guys later in actually just a minute, so I'll see you then. Bye.